Welcome guys. As you can see, I'm doing the Pride vlog today. I've started a bit of a baseline here for the flags that I'm going to be working on, simply because to draw them, to measure them and everything else, it was going to be a pain. And this is all about talking about things to do with Pride that matter personally to me, as well as what these flags stand for. So I'm going to be painting as I do normally with our vlogs and talking, but we're going to have a bit of painting about the talking as well, about the flags. This first flag I'm going to be painting is the traditional rainbow flag. And all meanings are going to be up there, on the display. In fact, the traditional one actually did have a hot pink on the top. It's the one we've been using a lot more recently. And I'm thinking here, I've got every colour organised, ready to go to start talking to you guys. And I have no orange. There you see. Best laid plans and all. Always something. But never to fear, there we go, one orange. So this rainbow flag has been used to represent Pride for many years. It began way back at Stone. I'm going to say the name wrong again. Way back at the riots, because the name's not coming to my head. I'm having a lot of foggy moments today due to my fibro, so I do apologise for any of them. So this flag stood for people fighting for gay rights, and when it was originally using this flag and fighting for these rights, it was a time when rights weren't given to people. It was a time when they had to stand forward and fight for those rights. And the first fights were begun by a drag queen, and the fight they did all the way back then makes such a difference to how our life is now and what we can live like. And one of the stories I have to share with you is to do with that. So first of all, I fall within all of this rainbow, as it's beautiful colours. There are so many different ways to fall into it. I fall into it as a bisexual woman, although looking into some of the other definitions, I could also very easily be seen as omnisexual and pansexual. I am cisgender, although right now, with a lot of the things I've been looking into, you've got me questioning looking at the gender side. So I will be honest with you, I have always never quite, it's part of my Asperger's, never quite know where I stand or lie. In fairness, I never felt like a traditional girl, but I've never really felt like a traditional guy neither. I just am me, and I'm comfortable with that. I am I have always called myself a tomboy, but because I'm more comfortable being able to be that, but it doesn't quite fit, because I also do like some of the girly stuff. I mean, I'm wearing a long maxi dress today, and I spend half my time painting in bright, vibrant, funky colours, and so maybe there isn't. Learning some of the gender meanings behind things today has definitely given me something to think about, which is interesting. So I've done the traditional rainbow flag here, and I'm going to be squaring these off at the end like I do with any of my artwork. And that was the one from all the way back. And it's been used for many years, and it is still flown today. So, and it's an important one. Now, this one can be used by anyone that is gay, but we do have separate flags. People do like to be able to have separate flags. It's been so long people have fought for identity. It's actually quite nice to be able to strip that identity and actually work out where you're fully lying. So the next flag I'm painting here is for gay men. And in all fairness, one of the reasons I fight so much, not just because of me being bisexual, is for my grandfather. So way back in time we go. I have told this story over on Instagram already. But if we go back to his time, he was married. He had, obviously, wasn't my parents, my mum. And he was a very impressive surgeon. He managed to make a lot of difference to the world with the work he did, especially with the research. He research work he did later in his career. However, that career was, well, he passed away 10-15 years ago in his 80s. It was an old man's club, and it was an old boys club at that. So coming out and being gay in that day and age, it just simply, it wasn't done. He couldn't do it. And I'm just checking I've got the colours right before I do the next one. I need to deepen that green a bit. So, and it would have been something, well, we know he had a relationship with the person that he eventually ended up with for many years, but he could never actually come out and say to his family, I am gay. And that has got to have been, that life for him had to have been horrible. I mean, most I remember of him is him in his study. That's where he spent most of his time. And he used to sit there drinking gin. Not drinking, like over drinking, but he had gin, and I've always wanted to join in. So he would pour me a little clear glass with lemonade in, or something clear that I could feel all grown up. He was a fantastic man. But when he retired, something kind of twigged. He decided it was time to stop hiding who he was from the world. And he shocked a lot of his family when he did, but he came out and told us all that he was gay and he was moving out of the family home, but he wasn't ever going to leave my grandma. And that's because it was still not the done thing to leave somebody. They were raised in a very Christian area, in a very Christian relationship, and to leave her would have been to shame her, and it would have caused great disgrace. So he moved out and he got to live the last 25 years of his life with the man he loved. They started a company together doing, what did they do? Catering. And he was very happy with that, and with the man that he chose to be with. And in fairness, my family, I must have been about 6 when he first came out, and I was always told that was because it was who we loved, but it wasn't always taken the same everywhere. And when he did pass away, unfortunately his partner wasn't allowed at the funeral, which nowadays I don't think it's how it would have actually gone. And that's why we fight for change, because even now, I mean, that he passed away 15 years ago now, 10-15 years ago. How even now though, he would look down and he would be seeing a different world. Seeing a world where it would be okay to get married in our country. It would be okay to not just get married in a church, or most churches, which is kind of amazing. To be with his partner, the shame of not being able to get married in a church and the divorce behind it, to all of a sudden have the clergy and the vicar supporting him. The difference that would have made to him would have been massive. So I'm moving on to painting the lesbian flag here. This obviously stands for women that are gay. So we've got the gay men flag, and then we've got the lesbian flag. Just gonna do this, and I do love that colour there, bright pink, that hot pink. It gets used a lot because it's just so vibrant. And if any of these colours are bleeding into each other, it's because I'm painting these all so quick. I will try and neaten this up before I put it up, but trying to paint while talking. But yeah, back to my granddad. He would be looking down on all this and got just absolutely, he would be thrilled. I know he would. He would be the kind of man that would see the progress, and it would have just been so nice for it to be like that. But the fact that I know I'm watching a world evolve that in our country I know would make him happy, it's a nice feeling. But at the same time, I know it's not the same all over the world. And it's why we have these parades, because it's not the same. There are still many people that not only can they not get married, which is such a small thing compared to some other things they can't do, they'll get arrested. They can get arrested, they can get imprisoned, all for just loving someone in a different way, seeing who they are in a different way, and that to me is insane. It just doesn't work. Who you are, how you are, it's how you're born, and treating someone differently for that, it's absolutely bewildering to me. But anyway, so we fight because we've still got people out there that need us to fight. But we also have people in our own country that sadly, still get abuse held at them. They still have issues in their own home. In the UK, we only just are getting to the point of outlawing therapy, they call it, into stopping people being gay with the church. It's not therapy at all. Conversion therapy, that's the word. And it's barbaric and cruel, and it's still not fully outlawed. So even with the rest of the stuff that we have done, there is clearly some path to go. And as I said, there's still people that get attacked, sadly, for who they are. I know someone in our own area that recently had quite a severe attack just for being transgender, and it's just not okay. It never will be. So until all that change is made, until you can sit there and shout proud who you are, and that goes for everything. It goes for your race, your religion, your sexuality. You shouldn't be hiding it. You shouldn't have to hide it. No, you shouldn't be hiding it. You shouldn't have to hide it. So we're going on to the unity flag here. Now, I said that black one earlier while I was up the rock was for inclusion. That black line actually isn't. It's for remembering the people that were lost from AIDS. Now, my generation particularly will remember that. It was a massive deal when I was a kid. We went through calling it GERD, which was the gay immuno, whatever they called it. They blamed people that were actually gay for the transmission of AIDS, which was just, it made people think that they were outcasts. But on top of that, people that did need help were scared to get it. Yeah, it was an appalling and scary time for a lot of people as well, because at that time we didn't the treatment for it, because people decided it was a lot to do with the gay people that were on the gay community only, which at that time we didn't want to respect people that were different. A lot of the work didn't go into getting the treatment neither, or the research for it. So a lot of people died. And that black is to remember those people. And in fairness, it's a worthy it's worthy being there, because the community lost a lot, but they also lost a lot in the pain and trauma it causes to your mental health, to be treated like a outsider to that extreme for being sick. I mean, if you got sick and you were gay, back then with AIDS, you were treated like you were a leper. I mean, I remember way back then when I did watch EastEnders, they did a big storyline where one of the gay characters actually got it. And it was like you watched everyone turn on him. And the sad thing is, it was close to the truth of where the country was standing at that point. And we're talking my childhood. And I'm not 40 yet. Happy just, but I'm not. So it's not that long ago. It shows how close these things are, and how easy it would be just to slip back a generation when it comes to how we're acting. So that unity flag, that black line there, is for the people that were lost. The black is for diversity and inclusion, and then we have got the transgender flag in there for our gender rights. Now, transgender flag, I'm going to be including down here. Another one, very important to me, not because I'm trans, but because I know a couple of people that are actually very important to me that are. Someone I used to look after when I was, well, when he was a little girl. See, I'm struggling with the pronouns, because I looked after him as a little girl, and now he's obviously transitioning. He's 18, so only just begun, but it's very important to fly the flag for him. And there's another young lad that I know of by proxy, but I know is going through a really tough time in our area, and well, this goes out to him, because I know that there's been some abuse in the workplace, and it's not on people and we'll go down to not talking about who he is, but we'll go down to people refusing to work with or be around, or telling him that he can't possibly be transgender, he must be wrong, he should just grow up and stop acting like a sissy. That's a word that's being used to him. Now, that kind of phraseology is why we still need to be having these parades. And it's why I will fight alongside things like this that matter, that are not within the normal disability rights that I fight for. So you will see certain causes like this, because they're close to my own heart, and the disability I fight for is because, well, I'm disabled, I have mental health issues, I have a son with autism. All the stuff I write about and talk to you about is stuff that impacts my life. This is another one of them. There we have our transgender flag. I must admit, I do like the colours of that flag. Now we have non-binary here. Now non-binary is, I'm just going to put a bit of colour on the intersect, is an umbrella flag. So it pretty much means that it is the flag that covers a lot of other flags that you can go do, but there isn't space on this piece of cardboard, so I'm making sure the non-binary, or cardboard, canvas board, so I'm making sure the non-binary flag is included, and that's the gender identities that don't identify as female or male, or they're somewhere in between. So we've got things like our andronomy, can't say the word, that is included within the non-binary umbrella. Now, so we have a bright yellow, which that yellow isn't, so let's see if I can get a brighter one. It would be just the way for me not to be able to find one when I need it. I thought I'd covered all the colours. And what I'm going to do is pull a little bit over here and add a bit of white to it. There we go. I was just being a bit lazy. So, non-binary. 4 stripes. And a lot of these colours that non-binary have in its flag are the colours from a lot of the other flags that are within its umbrella as well, which is really nice. So we have the purple and the black, which are both within the Andromeda. We've got flag, which is, and I still can't say the word, so I do apologise. That is just, I stumble sometimes, get a bit of a stutter. I apologise for that. And then we've got our black. Here we go, the bottom, which is going to mix lovely into that, even though I drew all the lines on to make my life easier in the first place. It still doesn't always work that way. You know, I'm starting to think these might actually look nicer without squaring them off as much at the end, so I'm going to have a look when we're done. So that's a non-binary. Yeah. The next one is insects, which I painted yellow before because I have told you in multiple videos how much yellow bugs me. So insects. Insects is actually a very interesting one, and one that I've actually been very intrigued watching some of the research actually done into this gender as well. So it includes people that are born with genders both parts. It also involves people born with chromosomes that actually work in the same fashion way as, but they don't have necessarily body parts. However, all this does impact their feelings, their emotions, and quite often their hormones as well. So therefore, they will feel very regularly feelings towards both sexes. But yeah, it's an interesting one, a very interesting one. So that's intersex. Next one, bisexual. So here we go. Now it uses my nice bright hot pink. You see, the new I liked it for my one. And we're going to look across that. Bisexual is just when somebody, you're attracted to either gender. And this is when I said I was quite interested in a couple of things that went alongside bisexual. So I like the idea, like bisexual is pretty much because I'm quite happy and comfortable with people I fall in love with, and it doesn't really matter to me their gender. But that also falls into the omnisexual or the polysexual bracket, and in many ways, although poly seems to include not all genders, to me it wouldn't make a difference. I'm not really fussed. And I don't mean that in any weird way. I just fall in love very much when I'm with somebody. It doesn't really matter. I'm attracted to people a lot, but when I am attracted to someone on a sexual basis, it is very much, don't matter if they're male or female, and it wouldn't really matter to me if they were intersex, non-binary, transsexual. I would quite happily be with anyone, which apparently has me falling to homosexual, which is something new I found out today. So I always like to find out new information. So anyway, the bisexual, I need a blue for the bottom. And we're going to go across there. But I would also fall into one of the other ones, which I will get to later, which pretty much is, I very much, when I form a relationship with somebody, it's based on who the person is, not what they look like. And I need that to form a relationship. That's highly important to me. Without that, I would struggle, and I'm not certain of the terminology that links within at this exact second. So I will see if I have any information with me for that. I don't know if I do. No. So next one we're going to go on to is polysexual, which was the attraction to multiple people from different genders. Now I'm going to put a couple of the flags like this in because I think it's important to show you some of the other flags that aren't the more traditional ones. And as I said, I can't get them all in there, but I can put a couple. And it's nice to know, for you guys out there, what these flags mean. There's so many different flags and they're so pretty, but it's good to know what they mean. So this one, we're going to put the green across, and I might paint some of the other flags and put them up on Instagram for you. If you like the idea of that, please leave a comment in the feedback and let me know. So polysexual, and we need a more sky blue, I'd say. I do have that colour somewhere. It's in hiding. There we go. Don't know if I have enough on my board. I don't think I do. Okay, we're going to go with mixing that and a couple of colours and getting as close as we can, I think. Well, get pretty darn close. Yeah. So I'm going to cross here like this, and that's our pulley. So pansexual is the next one I'm going on to. So let's have a look. It's another nice, bright, vibrant flag is the pansexual, and that is very much people, they see themselves as gender blind. Pretty much don't see the gender, they see the person, and it's very much how I have seen myself for a long time when it comes to especially forming relationships. But I don't see the gender in someone, I just see the person I'm with. So at the beginning you also saw that I generally refer to myself as a cis female. That is the term you use before if we're talking within the gender presets. That is the term we would use before if you are basically related, or you see yourself as the same gender as you was born. So right now, even though some of these have definitely caught my attention, I do not know enough to say I have feelings towards any others. So I would say I'm a cis female. Now, the same would go for men. It would be a cis man if you are you identify with the gender you were born in. So you born as and sexed as a man when you were born, and then you still see yourself gender wise as a male. So, and from a medical perspective, because I used to work within that profession, we see sex and gender as separately, and that's obviously important for the medical profession, which is the simple way for you to see it. Your sex is your biological things, so, and that is important always for health professionals to be aware of. And that's simply because there's only certain conditions that can occur within the sex of certain of you if you were born a certain sex. Your gender is what you identify yourself as. So gender fluid. Now this is the one that interests me. This is where you kind of where's the colours? I have something to help me with colours, and I cannot find the colours for gender fluid. There it is, the nice one. You don't actually have a fluid gender, or you don't identify with a fluid gender.
Fixed.
But my husband's saying a fixed gender. That is probably the right word. But you do actually identify with traits of both, and quite comfortable of moving between them. Now, the reason why this one actually interests me is simply because, well, that's something I'm really comfortable with doing. And beyond that of what would fall into the normal, like, tomboy style role. So it's interested me, and it's something I really am quite interested in learning a lot more about. But I would have to learn a lot more about it. I can't just read a page and go, yeah, okay, I'm going to go I am somebody that needs information, and that's just me. So we've got blue, which is a bit off the colour, not the colour I think I should have gone with, but that blue is sometimes a bit tetchy anyway. So I'm going to try and add a second layer and see if I'll deepen it a little bit. If I move it over here, add a little bit of black and try and make a grey blue. Yeah, closer. So we've got a nice bright purple again, which we've already done. And then we've got a pink at the top, and I'll put the white in last. And you see now why I did all these lovely lines at the beginning. It's making my life a lot easier to know where I'm wanting my paint to go. And finally, we have asexual. And that is someone that, on the sexuality front, literally does not feel or has a lack of sexual feeling, and doesn't feel that drive towards either sex. And there we go. So that would be seen as asexual. And we're going to get the right colour. So I've got a deep purple, hopefully, if that mixed right. Oh, we're going to have more of a black, apparently. Oh, it's going to be one of those. One of them had to do that to me. Would be the last one. So, and as I said, there's a lot of other ones on here. Like we've got, what was one? There we go. Demisexual was the one that interested me, which was kind of in between asexual and sexual. But it needed emotional connection. Very much the need of emotional connection to form any form of relationship. And that, yeah, again, was another one that was quite interesting to look into. And then you've got, well, there's loads. I could go on and on and on. The other flag, the final flag that actually did it, that is always an interesting one to talk about when we're doing this, is the Ali, that's the name of my friend's husband, Ali flag, which is the flag for people that are straight, that support pride. And that is something that is really nice to see that's in existence. And that they can come along and sit there going, I'm here to support, I'm here to have people's backs, I'm here because I don't agree that some countries are still doing this, or that abuses are still going on. I'm here to support my friends and mother, daughter, I mean Trump's kids. It's a nice flag and it's a nice idea. So, and you'll see quite a lot of people on Instagram that aren't actually within the LGBTQ grouping actually do have that flag out, and that's because it shows that even though they are not within that rainbow, they are there to stand and support. So there are our flags. Now, let me know if you think I should, if I should do any more, if you want to see any more flags done, and if you do, let me know which ones you want to see painted, because there are so many that I need a bit of an idea of where you'd want me to go with that. And you can see how cool my palette's turned out like after doing it. It's like absolutely perfect for doing this kind of work. So if you enjoyed this, as I said, please, if you enjoyed this, please give me a like and subscribe to the channel. I've been Arty Smarty Mum. Have a really good day and stay safe and well, guys.